Okay, so if you've watched the last two videos, this will make sense, or the last couple of videos where I showed how to use the SDR for space with remote sensors, I guess you would say, monitoring frequencies and feeding WhisperCPP, and then in turn getting transcribed messages fed over to MQTT. In the other video, I showed how to set up pieces of the Elastic Stack with a project that's out there on GitHub for the purposes of taking the MQTT messages and pulling them into Kibana and the dashboard that you see I have pulled up here in front of me. Let's see, if you've watched, like I said, the last video, you should have everything set up to where I'm at now. Just keep in mind that I didn't add volumes, so if you shut down those Dockers, you're going to lose everything that you did. So just keep that in mind. Go that extra mile, set up and attach some storage so that you can have a persistent setup there. Now the only thing that I've done differently here is I have pulled down or checked out basically the word cloud branch of the MQTT to, let's see, it's right here. So if you edited the subscriber.py file like I did in the last example, just rename it out of the way, because when you do a git pull, it'll complain about that subscriber file being changed. So then you'll end up with a new subscriber file. I have changed the Whisper topic so that it looks a little different. It's going to use, well, it's going to import a data processor that you can read about in the project page now. It's going to remove some strings, split on words. You can see there under Whisper message. And the README has a real good explanation of what's going on there. But anyways, I've changed the Whisper topic to SDR Dragon Whisper because the remote system's host name that I'm going to send the messages from is Dragon. Um, let's see what else. Make sure I changed my path back where the certificate lies. And then if you remember, it's important to have that, if I can type, passwords file sitting in there. So everything is set up. So should be able to Python 3 start this new subscriber.py file. We'll let it go into the background. Okay. Well, as a matter of fact, I'll let it run for a second so we can see what's going on here. Now back on the remote host, and I did some port forwarding on the War Dragon on the network where it is at. Of course, you would want to set things up more secure than I have, but I've just done this for an example. And now on my end, in here, you're going to need to edit the settings, and you're going to need to change where your MQTT host IP address is. I'm using the RTL SDR version 4 dongle. And if you look in the DDC MQTT FM Whisper file, I'm still not feeding it live GPS, but I did come down somewhere in here. I probably passed it, and I have specified the RTL SDR. So should be able to use sudo, and I'll go up about 3 levels, should get me to the SDR VM dash file DDC. There we go. We can see it does detect the version 4. There's the host name, and we're looking at 435.050. It's created that baseline. Now this is the system that I'm sitting at, which is actually the Steam Deck, or as I call it, the Dragon Deck. This is, I'm looking at it through Real VNC remotely. So let's test this. RTL SDR version 4. So it's going to decode that. Close enough. And then we see over here on the subscribe, part of the remote system, I guess you'd say, in my case, where I'm sitting from. I got the message. So let's go ahead and close this out. We'll set up a word cloud. I've come in here under dashboard. I'm going to create a dashboard. I'm going to select aggregation based. I'm going to do a tag cloud. That MQTT, watch the previous video, I'm pulling from there. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add a bucket. Tags. I'll do terms. Let's see. And so if you've got some message, if you have some data coming in, you're going to have these new fields. I'm going to use the Whisper message keyword. We can increase this to 200 or whatever. And so I've already had this, running, so you're going to see some messages pop up pretty quickly here. So these are just past tests that I have done. Save, and let's see, we can set it up to, it's on absolute to now. What do we got? Refresh every 60 seconds. You can rearrange this however you like. All right, the HackerF is great. We've got RTL SDR, and what else do we got sitting here? The Pluto SDR. Now, obviously, it's probably not going to get all of that, but just wanted to get some words in here. Let's check our subscriber. See, we got N, and just go ahead and speed this up and refresh. So we've got some new words in here. Hacker. Supposed to be RTL SDR. So that's yeah, pretty much. Well, it's split up amongst a couple videos, but you should be able to follow along and get to where you're running your SDR4space and you're getting your word cloud. Now, ideally, I want to get to the point where the GPS information and I'm sure there's other ways to do analytics on this information coming in. Preferably, I want to see the GPS location and where the messages are at, which you could go into a different area and look at, and then of course you got that information in MQTT, the broker. So all right, well, there you go. Hopefully that helps.